Deep within the dense forest where silence and mystery intertwine, there lived a small, beautiful bird. Its feathers shimmered under the sunlight like rays reflected on the surface of water, while its eyes sparkled with innocence and kindness. Whoever encountered the bird could feel its gentleness, love, and pure-hearted goodness. Yet, what made this little bird truly special was not just its radiant appearance or pure soul, but rather a peculiar habit it always carried with it. Every morning, as the forest slowly awoke, the bird attentively observed everything around, whether it was the sound of wind rustling through the leaves, the faint fragrance of wildflowers, fleeting moments of joy in its heart, or even sudden sadness passing by. The bird refused to let any of them fade into oblivion. With its tiny beak, it would pick up a stone from the ground and carefully carve symbols upon it, representing the experience it had just felt. Sometimes it was a happy memory, like the sweetness of tasting ripe fruit for the first time. Other times it was sorrow, such as the sting of hurt after an argument. Once finished, the bird would place the stone into a small cloth pouch strapped to its back. To the bird, joy brought smiles, sorrow brought lessons. Both were precious and worthy of being preserved. At first, this habit of keeping memories was beautiful and meaningful. Each stone became like a miniature diary page, recording unforgettable moments in its life. The first taste of juicy berries was etched on one stone. A cold, rainy day with droplets falling on its soft wings was recorded on another. Even sadness or pain from quarrels with friends found their place. All were carefully stored inside the little pouch, forming a treasured collection. To the bird, it was proof of a life filled with both joy and bittersweet lessons. However, as time passed, the pouch grew heavier, the tiny stones turning into an enormous burden. At first, the bird did not notice the change. Excitement over gathering memories convinced it that carrying them all was worthwhile. But its delicate wings had to flap harder, and its flight was no longer as graceful. It could no longer soar high into the skies or glide swiftly among the treetops as before. Every wing beat became sluggish and heavy, draining its strength. Still, the bird told itself, "This is my life. I must carry it." Little did it realize that what it cherished as treasure was slowly becoming chains that bound its freedom. One peaceful evening, as the forest was bathed in sunset, the weary bird perched on a branch to rest. The pouch on its back had grown heavier than ever, pressing down on its fragile frame, yet it still considered it a source of pride. At that moment, an old monk passed slowly through the quiet forest. Seeing the bird burdened with its bulky pouch, he paused and gently asked, "Little bird, what are you carrying on your back?" The bird, full of pride, chirped cheerfully, "Dear sir, this is my life. Each stone in this pouch carries my precious experiences, joy, sorrow, and lessons I have lived through. I don't want to lose a single moment, for to me, every one of them is truly valuable." The monk listened quietly, nodding, but his eyes grew thoughtful. In a calm, steady voice, he advised, "My child, the past, whether joy or sorrow, has already gone. It should not become a burden we carry forever. Memories are meant to be guiding lights, not chains that shackle freedom. If you cling to all of them, sooner or later they will drag you down." The bird tilted its head, eyes shining with innocence yet tinged with confusion. Though it didn't fully understand, it thanked the monk before taking flight once more. Time went on, and though the monk's words echoed faintly in its mind, the bird did not truly heed them. Day by day, the pouch grew heavier with stones of memory. Happiness, sadness, laughter, or pain, all were carefully recorded and added to its collection. Yet now the burden weighed more and more upon its tiny body. At times it longed to fly as high as other birds, to stretch its wings and touch the vast blue sky. But the heavy pouch dragged it down, making every flap slow and exhausting. At times it wished to chase butterflies dancing in the morning sun, but its wings and legs could no longer keep pace. All it could do was gasp for breath, watching its friends fly freely while it quietly lagged behind. Then one evening, dark storm clouds gathered overhead. The wind howled, rain poured down in torrents, announcing a fierce storm. Terrified, the little bird tried desperately to fly back to its safe nest, but its frail wings, weighed down by the pouch full of stones, could not withstand the raging storm. Winds battered, rain lashed, and the bird struggled helplessly in midair. Finally, its strength failed and it plummeted to the ground. The stones spilled out, crushing its small body beneath their weight. The tragedy unfolded. The very treasure it had cherished became the force that ended its freedom and its life. The next morning, when the storm had passed and the forest regained its calm, the old monk once again walked his familiar path. Amid the damp air, he suddenly halted at a heartbreaking sight. The little bird lay motionless beneath the trees, surrounded by scattered stones. The pouch was torn apart, and the stones it once valued now piled atop its fragile form. Silently, the monk sat beside the bird. His eyes reflected profound sorrow as he recalled their earlier conversation, when the bird proudly spoke of its treasure. The advice he had offered was not fully understood, and now the consequence lay before him. The very memories the bird clung to had become the weight that robbed it of both freedom and life. Bowing his head, the monk whispered, "The past is not meant to be carried like a burden. It should be a lantern to light the way, not a chain to restrain our steps." Sadly, the little bird chose to cling to everything and forgot the present. That is why it could not go on living. With sorrow, the monk rose and left the forest, carrying with him a profound lesson about letting go. The story of the little bird leaves us with a powerful message. In life, many of us are like that bird, clutching too tightly to memories, both joyful and painful. At first, we don't feel the weight. We even believe holding on to them is necessary. Beautiful moments make us nostalgic, wishing to relive them, while painful ones become scars that burden the heart. Over time, they pile up, and eventually they become an invisible weight that restrains us, preventing us from living fully in the present. The monk's words hold the truth. The past is not meant to be carried along, but to illuminate the road ahead. Joy and suffering alike are already gone. Clinging only exhausts the soul. To be truly free, we must learn the art of letting go. Only by releasing regrets, resentments, fears, and unnecessary memories can our wings be light enough to soar. Living in the present, treasuring each moment as it comes, is the way to find peace. True freedom does not lie in holding tightly, but in the ability to let go at the right time. When we learn to let go, we gain the strength to rise higher, living more fully and joyfully.